Hi, my name is Stephen Magee, and I'm the author of Hypoxia, Mental Illness, and Chronic Fatigue. And we're here to talk about the super toxic Salem Police Department. So this is a Salem Police Department report that I've obtained. I had an encounter with a very unexpected encounter with the Salem Police Department. These reports cost about $23 to obtain from them. So this is the incident number, and as a police corruption researcher, I've been doing police corruption research since my mid-20s. I'm now 54. I'm very experienced in police corruption research. And you can see this is an offence incident report. Happened on May 1st, 2024. And the officer that wrote this report is called John Diaz, and his number is S457. So when I requested that number, he refused to give it to me. So that's how the Salem Police work. So this occurred in the Riverfront Park, and that is in the downtown area of Salem, Oregon. And it's interesting, this police report is just littered with mistakes. And I've picked up police reports in the past, and I can tell you, they're just like this. This is not unusual. So a lot of police reports look like this, what we're going to look into, and it's very concerning that they do. So they've put me down as a emotionally distressed person. Okay, so that was, what does that mean? Well, my phone call was about harassment. I've been harassed by the Marion County Sheriff's gardening supervisors. That's exactly what I called about. So they put that in as a emotionally distressed person. Okay. They've also, this is the first of the mistakes, they've put me down as transient. So this is how the police undermine you. So this is untrue. I never told them I was a transient, he's just made it up. I'm not a transient. I'm just a normal person. So that's the first fabrication in the report that I encountered, is that they fabricated I'm a transient, and they do that to undermine your reputation. So people who will look at this police report in the future will automatically assume you're a transient and that you're a nobody. So transients are nobody to the police. They're just troublesome people. And I'm not a transient. I'm not a troublesome person. So I'm just a guy who runs a YouTube channel. Okay, so here's our detail page. So let's see where it says. So that's our incident number right there. And here's the next set of errors right here. This incident type. So it says suspicious person, EDP, misuse of 911. Well, there was no misuse of 911. I have no idea what EDP is. So that's one of the problems with these police reports. They use abbreviations. I have no idea what EDP means, so that's a complete mystery to me. Suspicious person. So I'm assuming they're talking about me. It's very interesting because this is my 911 call to the police, which I reported I had been harassed by the Marion County Sheriff's gardening supervisors. Okay. So they've put that in as a suspicious person, which appears to refer to me, a misuse of 911. Well, there was no suspicious person. There was no use of 911, so there's another bunch of errors. So the other thing they've done is they've closed it out. So I thought that was very interesting. So let's look at the next page. This is where I just started laughing when I saw this. This is, I knew this police officer was totally incompetent and he was fraudulent. He's completely toxic, this police officer, this Diaz, that works for Salem Police Department. So that's my name, okay? There's my name. It says Stephen with a V, Magee, M-A-G-E-E. He's talking about a completely different person. That's not me. I'm not Stephen J. Magee. I'm Stephen W. Magee. It's a completely different person. That is not me, and we'll go into that more. We get more details about who this person is as we go through. So not my name. There we go. So here's a story, and it's got a lot of imagination. It's got a lot of fiction, and you know, it's got a lot of not my names in there as well. So this police officer is completely incompetent. This Diaz. So let's see what he's up to. So I'm going to put this back down. I'm going to read it to you. Okay. So on 5th of the 1st, 2024. So that's the May 1st, 2024 in America. I self-dispatched on a follow-up call at Riverfront Park, 101 Front Street. The complainant, so I placed a 911 call. Stephen Magee, spelt Magee wrong, he spelt it with a C, so that's not me. Wanted to file a police complaint against a deputy that was at the park supervising a work crew. That's true, and I'd also reported harassment from the sheriff's gardening supervisors. He doesn't mention that. On the initial call, I responded with Officer Schofield, but no contact was made because no laws were being broken. So I actually have a video of him sitting in his car, not responding to my 911 call. He just leaves me standing there in the park like a lemon waiting for him. He makes no contact with me whatsoever to tell me he's leaving. So he just leaves me standing around on the 911 call, knowing he hasn't contacted me, knowing that I'm standing in the park waiting for him to contact me. And I'm just mystified as to what's going on, so I have to make a second 911 call to find out where he is. So he hasn't made any contact with me. So I'm just left wondering what's going on. It's like, why is the police not showing up? So I'm going to show you the videos that relate to that. Hi, I'm at Salem Riverfront City Park. My name is Stephen Magee. I called earlier, nobody's shown up to respond to my call. I'm getting a little bit concerned that nobody's showing up. It's been quite some time since I placed the first 911 call.
So I was actually able to find this call here. It does look like an officer attempted to call you twice, and there was no answer, and he was unable to leave a message.
Yeah, I expected somebody to show in person. I don't know why my phone didn't ring, but I've been here the whole time, still waiting for him to show up.
Okay, I can go ahead and put.
I need to file a police report, so he needs to come and take the police report from me. Okay, so we saw him sitting in his car, not attending the 911 call, and we were all waiting for him. So he didn't attend the scene, and I was just left standing there. So I had to make another 911 call, ask him where he was. So he didn't do his job in that paragraph. So let's go on to the next one. I don't believe he knows I'm a police corruption researcher. So that's the other funny thing going on with this police report. So on mentioned date, Stephen Magee, spelled with a small c, that's not me, somebody else, had called back and was mad that no one responded to take his complaint and reiterated that he wanted to file a complaint against the deputy. So that's the sheriff who didn't do anything. I arrived at the location and noted that the inmate, crew, and deputy were no longer on scene. That's correct. They left while we were all waiting for him to show up. They abandoned the area before the police had actually attended. So I decided to try and make phone contact, but was unable to get an answer 4 times on the phone number left by Stephen Magee. So he misspells my name. It's the wrong name again. It's a different person. So the phone would go straight to voicemail and a prompt that the user's voicemail box is full plays. So I was actually quite sick around this time. So I was having like some pretty serious health issues, and it was so serious that I wasn't checking my voicemail. I wasn't responding to phone calls, and just a lot of stuff wasn't happening because I was just not feeling good during this time. So most of that appears to be correct, with the exception of he's misspelling my name. So let's go on to the next one. As I was preparing to leave, I observed Stephen Magee. Again, it's the wrong Stephen Magee. That's not me. I'm Magee. I'm not MCGEE. Walking through the park. So what was going on here was I had placed a call to the police after he didn't show up to my 911 call. I told him I was leaving. I told him I was going home. I was done with being messed around by the police. So I was on my way home. I was walking through the park. It was a very isolated part of the park in the middle of a field. And he cruises up behind me very, very quietly. I wasn't even aware he was there until he came past me. And I'm like mystified, like, I told the 911 people I was leaving because they hadn't shown up. So like, why has this police officer suddenly decided to show up in a very isolated part of the park in the middle of a field? And if you watch the video that I'm going to show you, you'll see his car is sitting in the middle of a grassy field and there's no witnesses. So he has decided to make contact with me in a very remote, isolated part of the park that is free of witnesses. And that's a very serious dynamic to be alone with a police officer in. So he's not doing his job, and now he's decided he's going to stop me in a remote area of the park. And I'm like wondering, like, what's going on? So I pull my video camera and I start recording him. So if you're ever in that situation, if any situation with the police, you should be recording them. It doesn't matter how benign the situation is, because they're a pack of liars. They're known to assault people and they're known to kill people. And then they just deny that they did anything wrong, and they generally get away with it. So it's a very, very serious dynamic to end up in with the police. You want to avoid being alone with an armed police officer. You do not want to be in that situation. So I find myself in this very, very serious lone situation. I'm on my own. The police officer's on his own. I'm standing in the middle of a field with no witnesses to witness what's going on with us. So it was a very scary dynamic. I drove into the park and made contact with him north of the carousel in the grassy field. So yes, we were in the grassy field. Stephen Magee, again, that's not me. My name is not spelled like that. I don't know who this guy is, but we do find out later in the report who he's talking about. And it's not me. Upon contact, immediately grabbed his camera and started to record. Yes, I felt very threatened by his presence at that point, because he hadn't shown up to my 911 calls. And now he's got me in the middle of a field on my own with no witnesses. And it's a very scary situation. I asked Stephen Magee, that's not me. That's not how you spell my name. It's a completely different person, and we will see that later. How I could help him. Stephen Magee, that's not me. A completely different person. Told me he wanted to file a police report about harassment and to file a complaint against the deputy who was in the park and did nothing. I explained to Stephen that the Parks Department works in the park and we're employees. I also told Stephen that I would take a report for him and get him a case number. I also told Stephen if he wanted to file a complaint, he could call the sheriff's department to do so. Stephen asked for the number, and I told him he could find it on his own. So I asked him for the number, and he refused to give it to me. I wanted it in writing because I have amnesia disorder. I talk about it in here. It's called amnesiac disorder. Just means you're forgetful and you need things in writing. So he refused to write the sheriff's phone number down for me. He doesn't mention that in the report. And the other thing is, he doesn't mention that I actually told him I had mental illness. There's no mention of it in here. Completely disappeared my mental illness out of the story. So I found that very, very concerning that that just got disappeared. And he doesn't mention that he was refusing to give me the phone number in writing. Okay, so I'm going to show you the video of that. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. My complaint is actually about these people, the groundskeepers of the park. They're in various locations. When I walked into the park, they started harassing me. I was just minding my own business. And I need to file a police report about it. So they're in force today for some reason in the park, and they engaged in all kinds of weird harassment behaviors with me. So I'd like to report that, and I need a case number. I also need to file a police complaint against the sheriff who was in attendance and did nothing.
Okay. So, for starters, they work here, Stephen. It's the city parks for the city of Salem. Okay, they're doing work. All right. And case number, I will get you a case number. I'll be taking a report.
Okay.
And you need to call the sheriff if you want to file a complaint against the deputy.
Can I have that number?
You're an adult. You can find it. It's on the internet.
Okay. So I'd like you to give me the number of the sheriff.
It's not going to happen.
Why not?
Because you're an adult, okay? And you can do it.
I have mental health issues.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Can I help you out in any way with your mental health?
Yeah, I need the sheriff's number so I can file a complaint.
Well, mental health, okay, I can deal with that. I can help you, and I can give you all the resources that you need. But
I'm after the sheriff's number. I'm after the sheriff's number.
You have a phone in your pocket. You can look it up on your own, on Google.
So you're saying that you won't give me the sheriff's number to file a police complaint?
Okay, because you're a big man, and you can do it on your own.
Well, I do actually have documented mental health issues, so...
Okay, that's nice.
So,
welcome
that doesn't work. I'm after the number. Why won't you give me the number?
Look it up on your phone.
Why won't you give me the number? My phone's not connected to the internet.
Okay, go to the library.
The libraries are closed.
Okay. No, they're not.
What time is the library opening hours?
8 to 5.
Are you sure about that?
Yep.
There's been a lot of changes in the libraries around here recently.
No, there hasn't, actually.
There has. I've seen this. So as you could see, he did not give me the sheriff's phone number so I could file a complaint after I told him I had mental illness, and I was requesting it in writing because my mental illness is amnesiac disorder, which means I need to have things in writing. So he's refusing to give a person that has amnesiac disorder things in writing. And it's a big point of relevance, the location that this took place in, because one of the most famous mental illness films in history was recorded in the town of Salem, Oregon, USA. And it starred Jack Nicholson, and it's called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And in Salem, Oregon, you will find the Museum of Mental Health, which is dedicated to that movie. The movie won an Oscar, and I was curious as to what he would do with my mental illness diagnosis, and I was shocked at how he behaved after I told him I had a mental illness diagnosis. So we're going to see how he behaves with a mentally ill person who has amnesiac disorder, which means they're forgetful. When I attempted to talk to Stephen about his complaint, Stephen said he was going to video record my car. So that is actually true, and the reason why I was video recording his car is because I had video recorded the same car earlier not showing up to my 911 call. So I wanted to get a video recording of it because it was important to my police corruption investigation that I was now doing to have a video recording of that car, so I can match it up with the earlier car that I video recorded. I attempted several times to get Stephen to tell me how he was being harassed. So what he's not mentioning is he's trying to block me from video recording his car. So he knows I've told him I'm going to video record his car, and he's trying to stop me from video recording his car. So this is what he says about it. Stephen walked away from me and began to film my car. I stood in front of Stephen to attempt to get him to talk to me. That's exactly what he did, but what he's not mentioning is he is inches from me. He refused to walk away from me when I told him he was harassing me. He refused to give me space. He's in my personal space. It's inches. He's breathing all over me. I had to do a COVID test. He was that close to me because he was just totally breathing his potentially infectious breath in my face. I ended up with COVID-like symptoms in the days afterwards. I had to run a COVID test. So I was pretty convinced that wherever that illness was that I got in the days afterwards came from him. So I kind of viewed it as a form of assault he was engaging in with me during the COVID-19 era that we're all in. COVID-19 kills people. So I'm like, is this guy trying to kill me by breathing all over me? That was kind of my conclusion as a police corruption researcher, is that he was trying to infect me. And it's possible he knew he had something, but you know, it's part of the intimidation that the police do. They'll just breathe all over you in the era of COVID-19 like it's nothing, knowing full well if they do have COVID-19 and they give it to you, you may actually die. So, you know, it's a form of harassment they're engaging with people. So he instead accused me of harassing him. Stephen asked for my name and badge number. I pointed out my name to Stephen and told him we do not have badge numbers. I made him aware of the agency I work for and allowed him to video record my person. So that is relatively accurate, with the exception of when I got this report. He does have a number. It's right there. Here's John Diaz, number S457. So the only thing I got out of him was Diaz. It was the only thing he would tell me on the scene. He would not tell me his full name and his badge number. It was never revealed to me. The only thing he revealed was Diaz when I was trying to identify him. So he's a toxic police officer. He lies extensively. He's a profuse liar. And that's his number. So he's number S457, John Diaz. That's who we're talking about in the Salem Police Department. So I'm going to show you the video of that, and I think you'll find it very interesting.
So how else can I help you, Stephen?
So I need you to take my report of the harassing behaviours.
Okay, I'm going to do that. How did they harass you?
So I just want to take a scan of your car before, because it looks remarkably like the car that was here earlier and didn't attend to my call.
How did they help you, Stephen?
So
how did they harass you?
Is there a reason why you're blocking my view?
I'm not blocking anybody's view.
You're engaging
can I
in
help you,
harassment
yes
right
or
now.
no?
You're engaging in harassment right now in your own video.
This is, do you want my help, yes or no?
I want to video record the car.
Do you want my help, yes or no?
Why are you coming into my space?
Why are you shaking?
Because you're in my space.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Do you want my help, yes or no?
I can feel your breath. You're that close to me. Yeah, my camera is zoomed all the way out, has a wide-angle lens.
Okay.
And you're
do you want help,
my
yes
camera.
or no?
So I want you to take my complaint.
I am listening to your
You're
complaint.
harassing me.
No, I'm not.
You're right on top of me. Look.
No, I'm not.
Here's our feet. Look how close we are.
Why are you shaking, Stephen?
Because you're harassing me. Why are you harassing me? You're just engaging in the same exact behavior as these park keepers.
No.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're
so
toxic.
Can I help you, yes or no?
You're toxic. I need your name, your badge number. I need to file a complaint about you.
My name's right here.
Okay, what's your name? Diaz?
Yes.
Police? I need your badge number.
We don't have badge numbers. That's for TV, Stephen.
Okay, so how am I supposed to file a complaint about some random
I work for
guy
the city of Salem.
called Diaz, and you won't let me see your plate number of your car?
Right there.
Okay, so you're letting me... You just stepped in front when I wanted to video it. Is there a reason why you're standing between me and your car?
Because I'm trying to have a conversation with you like
But
a gentleman.
You can have a conversation by standing over here.
I'm not going to stand where you want me to. That's not the way it goes.
Okay, I'm going to move. Please stay there.
No.
So you're harassing me now.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
You don't tell people what to do,
You are harassing
Stephen.
me. I'm telling you, you're harassing me.
Ah. What's the harassment?
The harassment is you're in my space. You're not taking my complaint. You're not letting me record the car.
You going to put this on YouTube? Because I'd like to see what the comments would say with your little comment there.
Oh, I always leave the comments on. That's going to be very interesting to see what they say about you.
So, Stephen, if you don't want to...
so I do want to file a complaint.
I'm going to take off. So what's your complaint then?
So, where's my police report number? I'm trying to file a police report.
Okay.
Okay. I see you got a video camera.
Do you have something
You're video recording me.
Do you have something to write down?
I don't. You're going to have to write it down for me. I've got mental health issues.
Yep, that's nice.
So,
do you have a pen?
I don't have a pen, no. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to give you mine. 457. What's my case number? $36484 for the case number, Stephen.
36.
Do you have anything else?
484. Can you take my statement?
Huh?
I'd like to take a statement. I want you to take a written statement.
I just did. I asked you. You refused to answer.
I'm ready. I've been trying to give you my statement. You're harassing me. I was dealing with the harassment you engaged in.
You done, Stephen?
I want you to take my statement.
I already did.
You've not taken. Well, read it back to me. Read it back to me.
I'm not reading anything back.
Yes, you didn't take it.
I asked you how they're harassing you. You said, I'm going to videotape your car.
I wanted to get a record of the car that I was handed because it looks remarkably like the car that was here earlier.
It was.
It was you that was here earlier.
Yes.
And you were watching me and you didn't attend to a harassment.
I didn't have to. There was no harassment. You were videotaping the eagles. Well, I don't know very many eagles that fly on the ground. So,
I was on the spot.
Are we done?
I was walking over to where I was
done?
going to videotape the eagles. Look at my YouTube channel. I've got multiple videos of eagles on my YouTube channel.
What's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Environmental Radiation LLC. And if you go on there, you will see multiple videos of eagles in this park. I come down here to video record eagles in the park, and I do not expect to get harassment from the police. I do not expect harassment from the sheriff.
Well, let me remind you that you called me.
Harassment.
And I tried to call you on the phone,
well,
but you didn't answer.
You came down and then you harassed me.
How am I harassing you?
You came into my space. You're like, my foot was literally inches away from your foot.
No, it wasn't.
I didn't move. You came into my space.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, you were. That's intimidation. It's police harassment, police intimidation.
No,
I'm asking that they fire you.
Okay.
I hope.
Who are you going to ask?
I'm going to ask the police complaints to fire you.
The police complaints?
I'm going to file a police complaint about you.
Okay.
So.
Do you know how to do that?
It'd be great if you could tell me.
Sure. You go down to the Salem Police Department.
Yeah.
There's a form that you can file for a complaint, and you can fill it out there.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you could do it online, but it would probably be better if you did it in person.
Okay.
And you have my name. I work
Your
for
name
the city of Salem.
Can you uncover it?
I work for the city of Salem.
So you're Diaz Police. That's your name, Diaz Police.
Yep.
So as you can see, he would only give me Diaz as his name. So he would not give me any of the information that I got from the police report. And one of the things that's important with a police report to pick up is you are going to get more information from that police report. So, you know, although these cost $23, you're going to get all this extra information you're not aware of. And you're also going to get their fantasy story that they're engaging in about you. And that's very kind of concerning because when they're engaging in fantasies, other police officers are going to read this report in the future and they're going to think it's reality. And it's not. It's a fabrication. This police report is an extensive fabrication of events. Has many omissions. It's not an accurate report of what went on. He refused to take an accurate report from me during the incident. So there is no accurate report about what went on in the park with me, the Salem Police Department, and the Marion County's Sheriff's Department, and the gardening supervisors of the work crew. So that's how it all started. It doesn't exist. It's just absolutely atrocious policing that appears to have been done on purpose. So Salem Police Department is super shady. It's way, way up there with the most toxic police officers and police departments I've ever encountered during police corruption research. And unfortunately, it's kind of normal. What we're talking about is normality in the police. It's normal in the UK. It's normal in the USA. There's nothing abnormal going on in this police report. This is how the police operates. They operate in fantasy land. So they're constantly fabricating information, sticking it into their computer system to harass you. So, you know, this is a harassment report we're reading. This is just another extension of the harassment that occurred in Salem Riverfront Park. So let's carry on. I again asked Stephen how I could help him. He ignored me and continued to record my vehicle. I asked for a case number and provided it to Stephen. Yes, he did give me a case number. I verbally gave Stephen the case number and I told him I was going to leave. So what's interesting is it's emerged that there appears to be 2 or 3 case numbers associated with this case. So I made 3 reports. The first one was harassment in the park, which was the call he didn't respond to. So there appears to be a police report for that, which I've not been given the number. I'm going to have to start chasing that down. There appears to be a 3rd police report in the system, which is my report of him assaulting me, which we're going to get into a little bit later. So he hit me, and it was unprovoked, and I reported it to 911. So that police report seems to be missing of my report of being assaulted by Diaz from the Salem Police Department. He engaged in unwanted physical contact with me. Stephen asked why I would not take his statement. I told Stephen I had attempted to do so several times, but he refused to answer my question and found my car more interesting. Well, that's a complete lie. So after we video recorded his car, I tried to get him to take my statement, and he wouldn't. He refused to take my statement. So he's fabricating information here. And it's clear on the video I was trying to give him my statement, and he left the scene without taking an accurate statement. And it's actually not in here. The statement I gave him at the scene is not in this police report. He's disappeared it. And my statement was about gardeners in the park harassing me who were working for the sheriff's work crew. So, and also that Kadin did not intervene from the sheriff's department. So that's very interesting. So he's totally engaging in blatant lies in this police report. He's disappeared information that should be in there and isn't. And it's just littered with omissions and errors. So here we are. Stephen accused me of harassing him, and I walked over to where I was by my car. I believe he said he wanted to file a complaint against me, and I made him aware of how to do so. So he actually was very amenable to informing me how to do the complaint. That was very useful. That was actually one of the nice things he did while he was on scene. So he wasn't 100% bad, but he was like 80 to 90% bad. So it was pretty bad. So I continued to allow Stephen to record me, as he had not caused an issue to this point. When Stephen panned the camera in close proximity of my baton, so I want you to pay attention to that. He is saying baton. I'm going to show you. Actually going to let you see what he's written there. It's right here. See where it says baton? Right there, go right in the middle. So he is saying I got in close proximity of his baton. Okay. Very, very overactive imagination this police officer has. He's in fantasy land. He needs a mental health examination. Okay. I swiped Stephen's camera away from me and asked him to step back. Stephen immediately became irate and told me I assaulted him. Well, he did assault me, so that's why I reported it. He hit my camera, so let's talk about that. So why is he hitting my camera? there's only one reason I can come up with why he's hitting my camera, is because my camera has a very clear recording of him engaging in police misconduct in numerous areas of police misconduct. And I think he's trying to break the camera. He was trying to destroy the recording by hitting me and the camera, because I'm holding the camera, so he's hitting me and the camera. He doesn't mention that. He doesn't mention that he hit me. He just mentions he hit my camera. So that's a very glaring omission on his part. So he didn't swipe my camera away from me. You didn't swipe the camera away from him. He swiped my hands and camera away from him. So there's a big mission. That's quite a different version of events. There's no mention that he's actually hit my hands to get my camera away from him. And in the process, he could have broke the camera. I was fortunate he didn't. I did walk away with a good, clear recording of the incident. So asked him to step back. Stephen immediately became irate and told me I assaulted him, and advised dispatch that the subject I was with was calling 911. Yeah, I'd just been assaulted by a police officer, so I called 911. That's what you're supposed to do when a police officer hits you. So I was reporting the assault for investigation. So he's hit me. I've reported the assault for investigation. I wouldn't say I was irate. I was just responding appropriately to the situation, which was I moved back. I told him I was calling 911. I picked up my cell phone and I made a 911 call and reported the assault. I heard the conversation with the 911 call taker, who advised Stephen they would document the call. So he acknowledges that I made a 911 call reporting assault, that for some reason I've not been provided with that police report. As far as I'm aware, there's never been an investigation into why he assaulted me and tried to, from my point of view, break my video camera. And my point of view is he was trying to destroy the recording because it showed him engaging in a wide range of police misconduct. When Stephen hung up, I warned him about the misuse of 911 and that he would be arrested if it continued. Well, it's interesting that he says that, because people that have been arrested for 911 are actually known to die in police custody. So it's interesting he's fabricating a reason to arrest me, which is not valid. All my 911 calls were genuine. They were to communicate with the police department with what was going on at the scene, and the no showing of police officers. He's complaining about himself. This man is complaining about his misuse of the 911 system. He's not showing up in person to 911 calls. He's sitting in his car. I don't know what he's doing in his car, but it wasn't anything to do with my 911 call, because he can see me when he's sitting in his car. He's watching me, but he's not addressing the fact that I'm standing there waiting for him to show up. He just leaves. So that's a complete misuse of police resources. So he left us all standing around. It aggravated the situation when he didn't show up. And the gardeners continued their horrible harassing behaviours around me. So that caused problems with the sheriff who was on scene, because he was doing nothing about it. So he was the only person with a gun and a law enforcement badge, and he just was completely hands off, doing nothing. So that's why I reported the sheriff for investigation to his police internal affairs unit. So right there was no use of 911 by me. All the misuse from 911 came from the police department, specifically this police officer. And he mentions that he's there with a partner later. So there's another police officer involved from Salem Police Department in this police report, and I found that interesting. So just to clear up the thing about his baton, I was recording his badge, not his baton. So he's saying I'm recording his baton, and he needs to. Let's see what he said. Let's see what he actually said in his report. When Stephen panned the camera in close proximity of my baton, I swiped Stephen's camera away from me and asked him to step back. Okay. As far as I'm aware, there is no baton near his badge. I was recording his identification, because I have amnesiac disorder, which is documented in this book. This book was written years ago. It's completely documented in here. It's not a secret. It's completely public. There's no secrecies about my mental illness of amnesiac disorder. It comes from high altitude work. That's why we're in Mauna Kea, at the summit of Mauna Kea. That's me. I'm standing on top of the world's largest telescopes, the W.M. Keck Observatory, and I'm hypoxic, and it's causing brain damage. And that brain damage has manifested itself in a number of ways, and it's caused physical and mental health issues, and the big mental health issue I have is amnesiac disorder. I need to have things written down for me. So that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about amnesiac disorder, which is documented in this book. So let's take a look at this video.
I work for the city of Salem, and you can go there. Please do not get
Do not touch me.
Then don't
That's
get so
assault.
close to me. No, it's not.
Get the fuck away from me, you fucker.
Are we done?
Get the fuck away. I'm placing a 911 call right now.
Okay. 457 and 539. If you're near the park, can you come and deal with the subject I'm dealing with? Not very happy.
Where is your emergency?
Hi, I'm in Salem
Currently calling
Riverfront
911.
Park. This is my fourth 911 call about this
We need to
incident.
figure something out.
I'm in the presence of a police officer who just assaulted me.
There was no assault, Stephen.
You touched me.
How did he assault you?
He flipped my hand away from him. He made contact with me. I need to file a police report of assault
457. There should be a
and
911
harassment
call coming
by
on.
this police officer.
Saying that I assaulted him.
Okay, I'll update the call that we have, okay?
So I need another police officer to take my statement. And now we've got a number of complaints going on here right now. So we've got a complaint against the sheriff, a complaint against the park keepers, a complaint against the Salem Police, and this complaint just keeps escalating. So you keep sending toxic people down to my 911 call. Please stop doing that. I expect good
I'll let you
service
go,
from the
Stephen.
police.
I'll update the call, okay?
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Stephen, I'm going to warn you about the misuse of 911. Okay? It's for emergencies.
This is emergency. You
Would you
assaulted
like
me. Prior to leaving, I asked Stephen if he wanted to speak with my supervisor. That's true. Stephen ignored me even after I asked him several times. He's completely lying. Completely lying. This police officer is a habitual liar. Okay, I ultimately cleared and made Sergeant Pratt aware of Stephen. Well, what actually happened, I'm going to show you the video in a minute, is he asked me if I wanted to speak with his supervisor, and I said yes. And he told me he was coming. So what he does is he does the opposite. So he tells me his supervisor is coming. He clears the scene. He tells his sergeant I'm in the park. But there's no mention that he dispatches his sergeant to speak with me. There's no mention of this Sergeant Pratt being dispatched. So he appears to be lying here. So based on his statement here, it's a great lie. So Stephen ignored me after I asked him several times. That's not what happened. Let's read the full paragraph. Prior to leaving, I asked Stephen if he wanted to speak with my supervisor. Stephen ignored me, even after I asked him several times. I ultimately cleared and made Sergeant Pratt aware of Stephen. Okay. So that's not what happened. So what happened was he asked me if I wanted to. I'd already requested another police officer through the 911 system. So this is the second request for another police officer. And based on what's in his report, it appears he cancelled both requests. He just left me standing in the park, knowing I was waiting for a police supervisor that was never going to show up. And I'm pretty smart with the police. I know the police engage in all kinds of tricks to mess the general public around. And I was aware of this trick. They tell you somebody's coming when nobody's coming. And the trick is called a long stand. It's a joke people play on apprentices. So they're playing the long stand joke on me. Now I'm aware of the long stand joke because it's a common apprentice joke. I've done an apprenticeship. So the idea of this joke that he's playing on me is to leave me there indefinitely hanging out for a police supervisor. So I didn't take the bait. I gave the police supervisor 20 minutes and then I made another 911 call telling them I was leaving because the police supervisor hadn't shown up. So I'll play you that video.
Talk to a supervisor.
You assaulted me. It was an emergency.
Would you like to talk to a supervisor?
I'm waiting for them to send the person.
Okay, they're not going to send anybody. Would you like to talk to a supervisor?
I will wait for the person to respond to my 911 call.
Okay, nobody is coming for your 911. Okay?
Why is nobody coming for my 911 call?
Because that is not an assault.
That was an assault.
You need to grow up. All right.
You made contact with me. I was minding my own business. You made contact with me.
No.
Yes, you did.
No.
Yes, you did. Are you lying about the contact?
My bubble.
I didn't get into your bubble.
Yes,
you got into mine. We'd already discussed this.
All right, whatever.
And you refused to move out.
So I'm done. So
yeah, you're a
anything
toxic police officer. And I'm calling for your termination.
Okay.
It's not going to happen because they don't fire police officers.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
How many police officers?
They just fired one from our agency.
Really? And what did they fire him for?
Look it up in the media.
I'm mentally ill. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry about that, Stephen.
I can't use the internet. So.
Well, that sucks to be you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take off. You have a nice day. Would you like to talk to my supervisor?
I will. Please send him down here. I'll chat with him.
Is that yes or no?
Yes, I would like to speak with your supervisor.
Where are you going to be so I can tell him where to go?
I will wait here in the park, and it is. Let's see.
It's a big park, Stephen.
It's 11. So I've been down in this park now for like an hour and a half, and I'm still waiting for somebody to take my statement, which you haven't.
Well, I did actually.
You haven't. Read it back to me.
Okay. I'm not going to read anything back to you. That's
read it back to me.
For. You said that
I've not given any statement.
People were harassing you and doing various things. Okay, and then
so
you said you wanted to file against a complaint against the sheriff.
So what are the various things that the
You didn't tell me.
Doing?
You refused to tell me.
I did not refuse to tell me. You did not take my statement.
It's all on camera.
It is all on camera.
So we're done here. So you can wait for my supervisor. I'd like for him to know where you're going to be at so he can come make contact with you.
Well, I'll hang out here. I will be by the carousel.
Have a good day, Stephen.
And thanks for not responding to my earlier 911 call when you just sat and watched the situation like the toxic police officer you are. Okay, we're in the Salem Riverfront Park in Oregon, USA. I believe I placed 3 911 calls today from this park regarding harassment, and then it progressed into assault. I had a police officer come into contact with me unwanted after I told him to get out of my space, and he didn't interview me correctly regarding my complaint, and then he left the scene. He said he was going to send his supervisor, but his supervisor's not here, so I'm like standing like a lemon in the middle of Salem Riverfront Park. I'm about to make my last 911 call. My last 911 call is I am leaving. I'm not hanging around for the police anymore. So if you get any form of harassment, I feel sorry for you if it happens in this park, because the police officers are not going to show up. They're just going to leave you standing around like a lemon. They're not going to take your report, and they're not going to give you things in writing. I've asked them to give me stuff in writing. It just didn't happen. So the only police officer that showed up was toxic. So let's see what happens when I sign off with them. So it's my last 911 call. I have no idea what the non-emergency number is. I have no option but to call 911 because of that. So I'm going to place a 911 call and find out where this supervisor is and tell him I'm leaving.
You have reached the 911 center.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm in the Salem Riverfront Park. This, I believe, is my 4th 911 call this morning. And the police still have me hanging out here like a lemon. They haven't dealt with anything to do with what happened today. And the last police officer assaulted me. He said his supervisor was going to show up. He hasn't. I don't have time for this, so I'm leaving. I'm just giving you a courtesy call to let you know I'm leaving because you didn't do your job today. So this is
And where
Stephen.
are you?
This is Stephen
In the
Magee.
Riverfront Park?
I'm in the Riverfront Park. I'm leaving. I'm done with the harassment I've had from the park keepers, from the sheriff's department, from the police department, and it's just absolutely disgusting. So I'm off home. And I will be filing a police complaint, I will be filing a sheriff's complaint, and I will be contacting the parkkeeping department to tell them what happened here today and to request that those guys are fired. So I don't want to waste police resources. That's why I'm calling you, to tell you not to send anybody, because I'm leaving. Is there anything more you need to know?
Nope, that's it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
There you go. That's how you sign off with the Salem Police, who have wasted pretty much 2 hours of my time today and did not interact effectively with me, and the guy that they did send down here assaulted me, so that was just bizarre. I can't believe that actually happened, and he was proud of it. So absolutely disgusting sheriff's department, absolutely disgusting police department, absolutely disgusting park keepers in this park. I only came down here to video record the eagles that live in that tree over there. Absolutely horrible experience in Salem Riverfront Park today. So here he is trying to identify me. I'm assuming he did this afterwards. He hung around for a while in his car. So it looks like he was maybe trying to identify me. In doing a scan on Stephen Magee, that's not me. It's a different person. I'm not Stephen MCGEE. I'm Stephen with an MAGEE. So this is a completely different person he's talking about. He's incompetent. I believe I located him born in, so it's blanked out, with an Oregon license number of, now this is really interesting because I've never had an Oregon license. I've never had an Oregon driver's license. In pulling up the license photo, dated in 2013, well, that's interesting because in 2013, I was living in Tucson, Arizona. So I was nowhere near Oregon in 2013. It appears to match the subject I was in contact with. Well, I don't know who this person is. I'd be very interested to look at this license he was looking at, because I'm quite sure we look quite different from each other because it's a completely different person. So complete incompetence right there. So there you go. I've never had an Oregon driver's license or car. This report is to document my conversation with Stephen Magee at Riverfront Park on this date and my actions. No further investigation. So he didn't investigate the complaint, which was harassment from park keepers. He took a very, very basic statement from me. He refused to take a detailed statement, and that statement that he did take is not in this police report. So he was lying about taking my statement because the statement's not here. Now, there's no further investigation because he didn't investigate my statement. He just left it out. So, that's how Oregon police work. So this is probably happening all throughout Oregon. This is generally these police departments, it's coming down from the government, and it's probably the government of Oregon is involved with these fake police reports that are in their computer system. So again, he got my name wrong. Stephen Magee, that's not me. It's a completely different person. So let's find out what's going on. So the nice thing about the police report is right there, it gives you his details. He is John Diaz, badge number S457. And there's another person involved which I wasn't aware of, which is this guy, Jacob Pratt. His badge number is S539. So I never met this guy. I have no idea who he is. All I can tell you is this guy showed up when I was on my way home after telling them the 911 operator, I was leaving the scene. This guy shows up. So I'm not sure whether he was dispatched by 911 or whether he just showed up to harass me of his own accord. It's very unclear what's going on there as to what made him show up when I had told 911 I was leaving the park and I was going home because they were wasting my time. So this Jacob Pratt seems interesting. I have no idea what's going on with this guy and what his involvement was. There's no real mention of him in the report other than it may be his supervisor. So Sergeant Pratt is up here. It's his supervisor. Okay, so let's go on to the last page. The last page is very revealing, and this is why you need to pick the police reports up. So it's a very, very revealing last page. So I should mention that we are coming up to election season in the USA. And the federal government is the Biden government. This is occurring on the Biden government watch. I've already had issues with the Obama government. There are a bunch of fakers. So here we are. They faked a solar power plant launch I was involved with in Florida. I believe it was back in 2009. Had Obama marching his way around it, telling everybody how wonderful it was. It was a complete disaster, the project. So this is occurring on the Democrats' watch. And it's the reason why I will not be voting Democrat this year in the election. So I'm actually going to be voting for Trump because I regard the Democrats as a bunch of liars on my personal experience with them. So all this is happening on the Democrats' watch. So let's go down. So the case is closed. Routing professional standards unit. So I filed a professional standards complaint about this guy. So it seems they routed it to professional standards. So professional standards appear to have read this report believing it's true when it isn't. So I will be filing another professional standards complaint about this police report, and probably nothing will happen like my first complaint. Diaz is probably still responding to 911 calls all around the Salem area, and he's a toxic cop. He doesn't know what he's doing. He can't even write a police report correctly. So there we go. It's not me. That is not me. I don't know who this guy is, but we're going to get his address. And it's right there. He lives at 5355 River Road North, 3, KEIZER, Oregon, 97303. Wrong address, Salem Police Department, you incompetent police officers. So, very, very basic mistake. There you go. Just remember this next time you call the Salem Police Department. You call a 911 relying on this bunch of incompetence to save your life. You're probably going to die. It takes an hour and a half for them to show up for a 911 call in the park. So, yeah, you'll be dead if somebody's knifing you or shooting you when you make that 911 call. If they take 1.5 hours to show up. So there we go. Great deal of incompetence. So what's so sad about this is this report is in the Salem Police Department system. It's a completely wrong person, lives at a completely different address that I've never been to. And because it has a statement in here that I was alleged to be in close proximity of his baton when I was video recording his sheriff's or police officer's badge looking for the number on it, that's going to set up a whole host of issues for Stephen J. Magee. And you see it's completely different spelling from my name. There's no small c in my name. It's Magee. And I live nowhere near that address. I'm not transient. I do have an address here in Oregon. It's a home address. And Yeah, completely different person. So the incompetence of Salem. I mean, this is a reflection on not just the police department, it's a reflection on the Salem government. It's a reflection on the state of Oregon. It's a reflection on the federal government, which is Democrat, ran by a very old man who, when I watch him on TV, he doesn't look competent to run the government. So I will not be voting Democrat. Absolutely not, after reading this report. So Trump is a much better option than these liars in Salem who are ultimately under the control of the Democratic government of the USA. So we're talking directly about the Democratic government here. So it all goes up the chain and it stops at the USA Democratic government being ran by Biden. And that's why you should be voting for Trump. This police report is why you should be voting for Trump. Okay, so let's have a look at the incident. Suspicious activity. Well, the actual incident was reported as a harassment by unknown people in the park by me. That was my 911 call. It was so suspicious activity. It's actually harassment is what the report is that I made. And I eventually figured out it was the sheriffs, the Marion County sheriffs, gardening work crew supervisors that were engaging in the harassment. The work crew were excellent. There was no issues with them. Absolutely nice bunch of guys doing the gardens. It was the supervisors who were a not so nice bunch of guys. So it was Riverfront Park, Carousel, 101, Front Street, Southeast, Salem, Oregon, 97301. Location, park, playground. And the subject, that's me. I am called the subject, subject 1. So it's kind of interesting. I'm reporting party up here. So they're acknowledging that I made the report. So I'm the reporting party. I made the 911 call reporting harassment. Down here, I'm also the subject. So again, they got the wrong person. It's Magee with a small c, Stephen J. That's not me. I do not live in 5355 River Road North, 3, KEIZER, Oregon, 97303. I've never been there. I have no idea where that is. Wrong address, you bunch of losers. So, wrong person, not me. I think that summarizes up the whole report. It was just a complete fabrication, for the most part. It's a fabrication of omissions, gross omissions. It's a fabrication on this poor person. This poor person probably has a lawsuit against this police department because of this report. Because he's in the system being reported as going for somebody's baton. So he got so close to the baton that he had to be hit away from the baton. So if you can see a baton anywhere in my video recording where my camera went, I would be happy for you to point it out in the comments. I will post my entire encounter with this guy in clips, which I believe you've already seen. So anything that I missed out will be attached to the end. So I regard this police department as a bunch of losers. I regard the Biden government as a bunch of losers. I regard the Salem government as a bunch of losers. And I regard the state of Oregon as a bunch of losers because they're allowing this to occur. So there you go. Salem Police Department. It's all in writing. I have the video, and they're actually refusing to give me the body camera. So that's another battle I'm in with this toxic police department of Salem. And it's highly, highly unlikely I will ever get that video recording of Diaz interviewing me and harassing me and physically assaulting me and trying to break my video camera. Highly, highly unlikely that will ever see the light of day. That's how prescription works. So Unfortunately, right now, America's filled with a bunch of losers, and hopefully you're going to do the right thing and you're going to vote Trump in. I really greatly appreciate your help and assistance with getting rid of this toxic Democratic government and replacing somebody who's, we know he's got some issues, but he's got to be better than Sleepy Joe Biden. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Hypoxia, Mental Illness and Chronic Fatigue is a good read about my health issues and what I did to substantially make a recovery. It's not a full recovery. I still have amnesiac disorder. I still need things written down in writing. And depending on the day, depends on how forgetful I am. And I was pretty sick when this was going on. So I was having some pretty serious mental functioning issues, and I was also having some pretty serious issues with my phone at the time. So that was kind of causing me some issues with this particular police department. So that's it. If you have an encounter with the Salem Police Department, I wish you the very best of luck, because you are totally going to need it. You're going to find yourself in a very, very toxic situation at times with this particular police department. I just feel so sorry for you if you come into contact with them. Please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and I wish you the very best of health. Thank you.